Huh. I wonder how the nuclear power plant is doing. Oh, it looks like Homer's leaving. I hope the rest of the people that's working in there is fine. And the power plant just exploded. And now Homer's running away. Oh, wait. It's a new week. I gotta make a video. Stark Raving Dad. Yeah, for some reason, Stark Raving Dad isn't on Disney Plus for some reason. From what I heard, this episode's pretty controversial, so maybe that's why. But yeah, since this episode is not on Disney Plus, I have no thoughts about it, which means that we're gonna skip this segment. So yeah, next episode, Mr. Lisa Goes to Washington. This episode's fine. 8 out of 10. That's all I gotta say. I don't got nothing to say about this episode. When Flanders Failed. This episode's great. It's about Homer wishing for Flanders to fail in business, and then he feels guilty about himself, so he gets Flanders' business back. The end. Overall, just a really great episode. 8.5 out of 10. Bart the Murderer. After Bart joins the Mafia with their leader being a fat, Bart causes Skinner to go missing. Therefore, the people thinking that he killed him. But then it turns out at the end that Skinner was alive and he was just trapped in a pile of newspapers. What? Yeah, this is a good episode, I guess. 8 out of 10. Homer Defied. Oh my gosh, I just did a Homer watching this episode. No, I'm just kidding. This episode's great. This episode is about Homer saving the nuclear power plant from a meltdown. And totally dumb luck. So now he's praised as a hero for something he did, even though it was part of his dumb luck. There's also a subplot of him not being able to play with Milhouse again for Bart being a bad influence. I just really like this episode. 9 out of 10. Like father, like clown. I mean, I like the beginning of this episode, where Krusty is invited to the Simpsons dinner when Bart is rewarded for saving Krusty back in season 1. But other than that, this episode is okay, I guess. 8 out of 10. Treehouse of Horror 2. I love how at the beginning of the episode, Marge says that this episode is totally going to be scary. And way scarier than the last one. But the stories in this one aren't scary at all. And less scary than the last ones. This episode's fine. The Monkey Paw parody was interesting. The Bart being the monster parody is also great, I guess. And Homer getting his brain replaced by a robot is fine, I guess. 7.5 out of 10. Lisa's Pony. A great Homer and Lisa episode. To gain her love, Homer has to do something to love her again. And he got her a pony. And then at one point at the episode, he goes to the Quickie Mart. I don't really know why, though. But overall, this is a pretty great episode. 9.5 out of 10. Saturdays of Thunder. Not the best of the season, but still a great episode. I love Homer and Bart's relationship in this episode. It's just classic. 9.5 out of 10. Flaming Moe's. I love Moe and Homer's relationship in this episode. How Homer gets jealous that Moe is using his item, the Flaming Homer, and making it feel like that he created it. And such a relatable story. I mean, who the heck likes people who steal their ideas? I just really like this episode. The Aerosmith cameo really cracks me up. 10 out of 10. I'm not reading that. The chocolate land scene, fantastic. But other than that, this episode is really interesting. It's just a mid-tier episode. 7.5 out of 10. I Married Marge. Another great flashback episode. In this episode, we see it leading up to Bart being born. And it's a really heartwarming episode. Yeah. And ever since I watched this episode, I literally couldn't tell which was better, Flaming Moe's or this episode. But finally, I came up to my senses and picked the Flaming Moe as my favorite. At least until we talk about the later episodes. 10 out of 10. Radio Bart. Bart gets a radio and does a prank to the entire town that a boy is trapped in a well. But then later, he comes to get his radio box back. Or whatever, so that the whole town doesn't hate him. So, he goes to the well, and then he falls down in the well, and then, yeah, you get the idea. It's literally just a story of the little boy who cried the wolf. But, other than that, great episode. 8 out of 10. Lisa the Greek. Homer doesn't spend time with Lisa a lot, so Lisa gets upset. But when they eventually do hang out while watching football, Homer just becomes really unlikable then. And the episode was really confusing. I mean, like, what? Fine episode, I guess. 7.5 out of 10. But I do think Treehouse of Horror 2 is better than this. Homer Alone. It's about Marge being lazy. Wait, what? It's about Bart. Wait, no. It's about Marge being crazy. Yeah, there we go. So it's about Marge being crazy and wants to go on vacation. And she does, and the family can't function without her. And then there's one part where Maggie runs away and Homer's all terrified and stuff. But eventually, they live happily ever after, and then Marge comes home, and then they live happily ever after. Yeah, the end. Fine episode. Also, I see what you did there. 8 out of 10. Bart the Lover. Honestly, I find the side plot better than the actual episode itself. It's about Homer's influence on Flanders kids. But the episode itself, it's still pretty good nonetheless. I love Bart and Edna's relationship, where it turned out to be a funny prank, but then it turned out to be chaos, and then it went well at the end. Just great episode. 10 out of 10. I actually like this better than I Married Marge. Homer at the bat. I'm sorry, bro. Why is the nuclear plant planting a softball game? Like, what? I'm so confused. Yeah, other than the weird plot, this is a pretty fine episode, I guess. 8 out of 10. Separate Vocations. Separate Vocations. It's an episode about Lisa being the troublemaker and Bart being the good one, I guess. Yeah, not much to say about this episode. This is a fine episode. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Dog of Death. It's about the dog being sick. If you don't know who the dog's name is, it's Santa's Little Helper. Yeah, it's about the dog being sick and the Simpsons spending all of their money on the dog's... I don't actually know. This episode's fine. But then all of a sudden, this is just a Mr. Burns episode. Halfway. Yeah, really weird episode. Wouldn't recommend it, but still a fine episode. 7 out of 10. Colonial Homer. For some reason, Homer gets mad at Marge in this episode, all just because Marge just told Homer to be quiet while Homer was disturbing everyone in the movie theater. What? It's kind of weird that Homer is invested in another woman, even though it's applied friendship, I guess. But he's really clueless about her coming on to her, while not knowing about that at the same time. What? Man, this is fine, I guess. 7.5 out of 10. Black Widower. This episode marks the reappearance of the most famous villain ever, Sideshow Bob, who would later become a Disney Plus villain. Okay, let's just not talk about that. In this episode, Sideshow Bob marries Selma for some reason. I don't know why though. But on their honeymoon, Sideshow Bob attempts to kill Selma, but that gets foiled by Bart Simpson once again. Yeah, I really like this episode. Although it's not good as the 10 out of 10 was, it's still a pretty good episode. 9 out of 10. The Auto Show. Forget what I said about Dog of Death. This is the worst episode of Season 3. But is it bad? No, it's just forgettable. So apparently, Otto loses his driver's license and has to go through his driving lessons again, and it fails. And then he gets evicted from his apartment and now has to live with the Simpsons. And then later on, he gets his driver's license back and then becomes a school bus driver again. The end. Yeah, just really forgettable episode. That's all I gotta say. Hopefully the next one's better. 7 out of 10. Bart's friend falls in... Hey, wait a minute. Who changed the title? What? Oh, why, you little... Bart's friend falls in love. There we go. That's more like it. I gotta admit that Indiana Jones parody at the beginning of this episode was fantastic. Yeah, I like this episode a lot. It's another Bart and Milhouse rivalry episode. But I got one problem, though. Why is it called Bart's Friend Falls in Love? Milhouse has a name, you know. Like, why would you call it Bart's Friend? What? Oh, I see. You didn't want to put him in the title because He's a secondary character. Huh? Huh? Anyways, I'm not that really into the Homer subplot. I mean, what? Why? But I still enjoy the main plot for me to still love this episode. 9.5 out of 10. Brother, can you spare 2 dimes? Finally! The final episode of season 3, and then I don't have to talk about The Simpsons anymore. Until next week, where I talk about season 4 with the episode Camp Krusty, but that's next week, and I'll talk about that next week. So anyways, this is the episode that marks Danny DeVito's second appearance. Homer's brother. Unky Herb. Oh wait, no, that is his name. It's still weird though how they brought him back 1 season later. Just really weird. But at least we get to see the aftermath of Homer's brother's relationship between Homer. But overall, this episode is just meh. Homer's brother invents something. He shows us to the world and he's rich again. Yeah, this is a fine episode. 8 out of 10. I think the first part is better. Oh my gosh, finally, I'm done. So that was season 3. Now, if you don't mind me, I'm gonna go to my couch and watch more Simpsons.